Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, and welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio. It's official as of today. And hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio out of New York. We now have 3 ways for you to be part of our family. Listening on the radio for USA Global Radio, watching for USA Global TV, or listening out of Business Talk Radio New York. Thank you so much. Our show today is presenting Pet Psychic Aminah, and I am Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. I'm excited to have you here today. This is our last show for the week. Each and every week we have 20 to 25 live shows, and we have some new shows that are coming in the following upcoming weeks. Let me share with you what some of them are. First, we have a new show on Christianity that I will be delivering with Diane Floyd-Bain, and the start date is TBD. So that will be in the next couple of weeks. We also have What's Trending with Kathy Fulton. That's on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And of course, we have our Leadership of the Heart program, which is on Mondays. My co-host is Mariska Duprier, and you can find us there at 4 o'clock on Mondays, as I mentioned. And finally, we have our Talking Heads panel, which is starting April the 12th, and that will be at 4 p.m. Eastern time as well. Today's show is presenting Pet Psychic Aminah, and I would like to present her. So let's bring her on. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Can you see me? Because
yes.
There we go.
We can see you and hear you.
And our guest should be backstage. She's got her links. So we're really, really lucky to have Doti Boon with us today. And, your show is just growing by leaps and bounds. It's so much fun to check in all day, all week, just to get some great background, learning, teaching. So thanks for a wonderful channel.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We are blessed. We have incredible guests. Today we had Her Excellence, a woman who is like so well known and renowned across the world for gender equality. We just had someone who is the team neurologist for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's amazing. So we're grateful. And if you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, please go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com, book your session. So we've got Reverend Doti backstage, although it says quirky, but they're together.
She's the admin.
Yeah. So Aminah, before we bring her out, I'm going to spotlight you. And for people who are joining us for the first time, tell us, what is a pet psychic, and what exactly do you do with your clients to help them?
Okay. A great question, very broad some days. So my gift is, as with all my life, kind of strange, but I have always been able to hear animals and plants. And yes, I do a lot of landscaping and gardening and that type of thing. I think nature in general, I find my most peace there. Going for a 5-mile hike out in the hills the other day was just better. I don't meditate, but that would be my meditation. I am lucky enough to be able to share that with others and trying to help you and your family do your pets better. It's a relationship. It's a friendship. It's a family. And when we speak different languages, and I don't care if it's Italian or Spanish or deep back east English versions, we all approach life a little differently. Your animals are no different. So you could have a cat, but you could have a cat that hates, I don't know, seafood, or that doesn't want to sit on the couch with you, or doesn't want to walk on a leash. That's a really tough one. It can happen, But that's when you come to me. Do you have end of life questions? Is it time? Working with a client just last week and finding out, okay, it's going to be thousands of dollars to do the surgery, but will it save this pet's life, or will it be something that just extends it and they could die on the table? So these are the questions that I deal with every day, and I'm very fortunate to have a connection to people who have passed. Talking to the dead people. And I'm very lucky because I'm in touch with my own parents who have long passed. And it's wonderful because I've learned from the person that's coming here today. I've learned from Doti that there are limitations. I can put up barriers and say, no, not now. I just want to watch TV. I just want to do this. They don't have a right to that. And this is the things we're going to talk about and share with you. And if you have a problem with pets and a relationship, or to adopt or not to adopt, or it's end of life, any of those things, look me up, bridgingworlds.us. Everything about me is there. You'll get these videos where you'll have the links to USA Global TV and my LinkedIn, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. So please join us anytime you can, but I'm here to educate. If you need a speaker, I do a lot of public speaking. So I would love to come to your group, and I mean that virtually, anywhere in the world, and help them do better. So thank you. Again, Aminah is how you pronounce my first name, and Bridging Worlds, one word, .us. Thank you.
Thank you, Aminah. And just for folks who are watching, your video is out of sync with your audio. So just to let you know that, but there's nothing you can do about it because it's the technology energy. We can't control it. So.
Yeah, I wondered because it's only happened the last few episodes that we've had it that we're delayed, and I have nothing plugged in and made sure it wasn't on my end. So I'm not sure what's happened, but I have to hold really still before I see myself nod or smile.
Well, it's okay. We can see you. We can hear you. That's all that matters.
Wonderful.
So let's do an introduction for Reverend Doti. She is a regular guest here. And would you like to share how you met and a little bit about her background before we bring her out?
Yeah, I was living in Southern California when I was told to go public with the things I know and do. And it's kind of terrifying when you always just share it with this very, very small circle of your family and friends. So when I moved back to the Bay Area, I looked up metaphysical, everything, classes and get-togethers, and I surrounded myself with people I could learn from and circle myself around and go to. Well, Doti, she runs a church, and it is not of any denomination. It's all the denominations. It's a spiritual place to come together, and there happen to be a lot of healers there and psychics and many diverse people. And Doti is one of those people, and why one of the first people I asked to join me on this platform when we started, over a year ago. So Doti's gift is truly multi-layered, as well as a lot of ours I'm finding, but hers is she can track it back, I believe, to 5 years of age. And she does have an expertise in talking to people who have passed and knowing lots of things and knowing a great deal about modalities. If you're going to look into a healing this way or Reiki or this way and that way, she's the one to talk to. That is not my forte. And I bow to her knowledge and literally a lifetime of knowledge and teaching. So we are so fortunate to have her here. You guys can call in. You can leave me, Dr. JACALYN, an email or a message, and we'll be glad to bring those questions to Doti anytime she is on, once a month with us.
Thank you, Aminah. And just to clarify, if you want to reach out, you can put something in the comments on any of the platforms that you are now watching. If you're listening on the radio, you can email us, and you have Aminah's information. Mine is drjacalyn@usaglobaltv.com. Okay, let's bring out Reverend Doti and welcome her to the show. Hello. Nice to
Good
see
morning.
you
Good
again.
morning. How are you both this morning? It's beautiful here in California.
It
A little
is.
bit warm today in San Jose. I mean, I say a little bit warm. It's probably going to get up to 85, so that to us is pretty hot, but it feels good. We just wish we had more rain here.
Yeah.
So if any of you do a rain dance, do a rain dance for us here in California. We definitely need one. Okay. It's so great to be back here. But I wanted to say something, Amina, about when you mentioned Reiki. I
Okay.
probably have set the world's record, the quickest that somebody was told they shouldn't be doing Reiki. I met Mrs. Takata. Mrs. Takata is the woman who brought Reiki to California and thus to the world. She was living in Hawaii when she was doing Reiki, but not that well known. Man, this is a long time ago. I'm talking about almost 50 years ago that I met her. And I took the classes and I went in and finally I said, every time I talk to somebody who has a headache, I get a headache. And if I talk to somebody who's breathing heavy, I start breathing heavy. And she said, Dottie, in a very sweet voice, this little tiny woman said, Dottie, Reiki isn't for everyone. You have a gift of being psychic. You don't need to have a gift doing everything there is. Thank you so very much, and I'm so glad to have met you.
And don't let the door hit you too closely when you walk out.
Very
Delete.
sweet, very sweet, very loving. But I can honestly say I think I'm one of the few people that was told, please don't. Because I started doing psychic readings at a very young age because I started channeling a spirit guide named Ma, M-A-H, and that's short for Mahalalel. And when Ma told me that when I was 5 years old, and he said his name was Mahalalel, of course it became Ma immediately because that was a little hard for a 5-year-old. And I've been channeling him for many, many, many years. Okay, over 70 years I've been channeling Ma. So for me, it's like a relative that you have that came and stayed. Okay. He's always there. And I never know when he's going to have to feel the compulsion or whatever it is spirit feels to say, Dottie, you should do this or you should do that. Most of the time, he's in an advisory position for me. People call in for a reading. And the minute they call in, I will have never seen this person before, never talked to him before. And the minute I hear their voice, Ma starts talking to me. And it's amazing how many things that he talks to me about are typical of the human situation, whether it's should I break up with my husband, should I get surgery, should I go back to church, should the world be better in my eye. I mean, all of these things that are universal. But for me, it's the little things that Ma talks about. Like yesterday, I was talking to a lady, and Ma said she needs to do something about her hair. It's dull, and I've never met this woman before. And she said, "How do you know? I'm getting my hair dyed tomorrow. It's going to be a copper tint." And Ma said, "No, try a rinse. It might not look that good." Now, you're talking about somebody who's mentioned in the Bible in the Old Testament, talking about somebody getting a hair rinse. I mean, just cracks me up. And I don't know how some things he's really current on, and other things not quite as current, but always very accurate. My partner had said to me, I'm doing readings at home, and she's in a completely different room, but she could hear my voice being raised. And she said, Are you yelling at somebody? I said, Yeah, Ma's yelling at me to yell at this person. It's not always just sweetness and light. Ma tells me things that are relevant to what is needed to be done, not just, oh, poor baby, that's rough. He'll say, the reason it's rough is because you did such and such and such. And that's why he's responding that way, or that's why she's responding that way. And it gives people, when they get a reading, a chance to reevaluate what they're doing in their life. For what motive? Why? And sometimes I hear from people, and I'm going along on a reading, and Ma says that's because they were molested by their brother when they were 6. And I'll say to them, and they'll go, "Oh my God, nobody knows that." And quite often we'll just start weeping. The fact that this secret they've held, now somebody that they can talk to they can be open with about what happened. And Ma, it's amazing when Ma does that, because he's not putting that horrible person. He's just letting her know that we understand this is a difficult time for him, for her to go through. And so, for any time anyone's saying, well, what do psychics do? Well, we don't scare you, but we let you know what you can do for whatever comes up. It's like be prepared. It's like giving you a safe things to take on a trip. Okay, how to prepare for the next emergency. And it is, for me, it amazes me as much about what Ma says as it quite often does my clients. Whew. Well, good morning. I just started talking.
That's okay.
Reverend Doti, you've been here many times and we always appreciate seeing you. But for people who are not really sure or they don't understand about the Center for Creative Living, can you give them an overview of what goes on there and who's welcome?
Everybody's welcome. All ages. We've got from 3 to 83. I mean, we have one little girl who attends, and she's 11 months old. She comes with her mom and dad. We're open to all people of every faith or none. One of my favorite stories is a gentleman walked in and he said, well, I heard you people were doing good stuff, and, I'm an atheist. And I said, okay. You're welcome. Come on in. And he came on in, and about 3 weeks later, he was walking out the door and he said, Dottie, I'm not an atheist. I realize now I'm an agnostic, meaning he appreciates all religions now. And I said, well, thank you very much. But we have more agnostics than anything else here in this faith, in this church. It was kind of interesting to have an atheist. And so, but that's the open viewpoint I have, that everybody that walks through our doors, or just about any doors, there is a faith that they have. Even if it seems like a lack of faith, almost every person I know on the planet feels there's something better or something bigger than they are. Whether you call it creator, or you call it God, or you call it source, or you call it spirit, whatever. And so people that come through our doors are welcome. We have a group of people that come in that are getting close to death and dying, and they want to talk about what happens on the other side. We have people who come of every race, of every religion. And every time they come in, they're very much welcome. They're asked, we'd love to have you here. And usually after they've come about 3 weeks, I say, why don't you get up and give a talk? And so we hear from people every Sunday of different backgrounds. So far, we've heard from somebody Zoroastrian, Jewish, Islam, Catholic, and that's just the beginning of this year. And so each week you are exposed through our church to people of a different belief, because people have been raised to dislike somebody who's different. And we're trying to let them know that we all have a basic sameness. And when we can connect on that energy of basic sameness as a human being, you find that you don't put up the fences and you don't put up the walls. So in other words, if you're here and the San Jose area, you're welcome. If you're not, you're welcome on Zoom. And that's how we communicate and have been communicating during the pandemic. And it's all about love and hope and joy. And this Sunday, I'm going to be talking about that, about being fun, how to have fun in a time of pandemic, or how to have fun with an impending war that people are talking about. In other words, how to appreciate what you have, not be scared of things you don't know about.
Thank you, Reverend Doti. You brought up a lot of good points. One that I want to kind of zone in on is about having fun. People might say, how dare you go out and enjoy yourself while this is going on? And we need to realize that we have the ability to help in certain ways, but at the same time, we also still have to keep moving forward. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, the fact that if you raise your emotional level, it improves your health. And so where people and people like this, I'm sure, who it's always, poor me, the world's no good. I'm sorry I was here. I don't know what I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. And you say, what do you have to be thankful for? And they go, nothing. I say, you got out of bed this morning. Look at it as being thankful. You're breathing. You have so many wonderful things you're doing. Let's look at the things you're doing instead of the things you aren't doing, or that you're so upset about what's going on. And if there's something you're upset about going in the world right now, find a way to help what you feel needs to be helped. We've raised a lot of money. We've raised food. We've raised supplies for when the Afghani people were coming here in California, in the San Jose area. The whole community here of people that were welcoming folks from Afghanistan. And now we're starting to help people who are coming here from the Ukraine. So instead of saying, oh, this world is awful, say, can we do to help support people?
I love that. Aminah, would you like to add anything?
No, that is really, in a nutshell, it is simply, it's more, don't think that how little you do in your eyes isn't enough. Every little step moves us forward. Every step, whatever you can donate, whatever you can pack or do or support. And I think, Dottie, you would agree with me. Sending love through your energy, through your being, through your thoughts is also of value to wanting the world to learn and change. I'm not capable nor talented enough to go over and physically fight this war, but I can send all my energy of love and support and do what I can on this side. And like what the church is doing, we put food together, or you get clothes together and that type of thing. There's something all of us can do. You just find your place. Sometimes a letter, going to anybody. We've heard about this, wars after war after war. My sisters did it during Vietnam, and they just wrote to the general population, and the letters were distributed. And they got back letters from the people that received them. And it was amazing how just that note of saying, we're thinking of you. We might not ever have met or ever will meet, but you need to know, I appreciate the sacrifices and the time you're doing. Don't discount something as simple as a note that says, thank you. Because we can do that to the grocery clerk. We can do that to the UPS person. We can do that to everybody who walk down the street. Sometimes it might be the kindest thing they have heard.
So true.
Right. Yeah, I know. I was in a grocery store one time, and my granddaughter was about 9, and she had a friend with her, and we're checking out. And I said, "Oh, Marie, thank you so much. It's so nice to talk to you." And I was talking to the clerk, and as we walked out of the store, the little girl said to my granddaughter, she said, "Does your grandma know everybody?"
Exactly.
my granddaughter said, "No, she just acts like she does." But what it was is, I feel the minute I go into a restaurant, I ask the waiter their name, so I can say, "Well, thank you, George," or "Thank you, Maria." Whoever's waiting on us, I make it personal, and sometimes even write a little note on the receipt thanking them for the great service. And the next time I go in, they remember me, and I always have a smile that I receive from them thanking me for being a person to them. And that's just a little thing you can do locally, but start spreading that further when you're talking to somebody on the phone, even when you're going on and on and on about your phone bill. Ask the person, who am I talking to? Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm so glad you helped me today. Who's your supervisor? And send a note in.
Right.
These little things, you're not saving the war single-handedly, but you are locally improving the energy and the disposition of the people here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. I know just last night we ordered takeout, and I saw the person's car pull up, so I went out, and the person looked and said, "That was so kind of you to come outside so I didn't have to come up to the door." And I said, "It's my pleasure." Just little things like that.
Right. And when you do it, it makes you feel good too. And
Definitely.
that feeling good is what helps your longevity.
Absolutely.
And they've proved this in many different ways. If you can stay in a positive energy, you're going to live longer. And so start looking at that. Oh, well, why should I be nice to people? Well, one of the reasons you're going to get a lot from it, more than you even think, and you're going to have a lot of friends. I know. I have. Last year was a very small birthday party. I only had 50 people. It's so that because my feeling is I love who I am, and that I was getting another year older, and I wanted everybody I knew to come and appreciate it with me. So here we are in the midst of the pandemic, and I found out that I could have a birthday party in the dining area of a bowling alley. And so everybody that came was so amazed because even though we were wearing masks, but we could all gather little bits apart. And there was more hilarity and fun in that bowling alley celebrating a birthday than they'd ever seen. In fact, the woman who owns the bowling alley, we saw her just this last Sunday. And she goes, "Oh, Dottie, you brought a group. I'm so glad to see you." And wasn't that wonderful service, Amina?
It was. It was. The speaker was amazing.
that was you,
Dr. JACALYN. It was me.
Amina.
Wow.
You didn't get the inside joke that we were going there for. She's like, what? And then Dottie took me out to lunch. It was lovely. We were at both ends of the table. I mean, literally both ends of the table. And I was a little hesitant, but you're right, Dottie. She was exceptional. Made sure we all had what we wanted. But yes, I was a speaker at the church, so I was wonderful, of course.
Yeah. Was there any bowling at this bowling alley at this party?
Oh yeah, but we couldn't hear it. It's in a whole different area.
Oh, but I didn't know if you guys were bowling.
No, we weren't bowling. We were so glad to be able to gather in a group and talk to each other and eat food and just. I mean, there were 12 people. I mean, they kept putting little tables again, little tables together. So I was at one end and Amina was at the other. And we can still talk because she and I have a big voice and we can talk, but that type of getting together and appreciating each other. And I talk to so many people and they say, "I'm so lonely." And I say, "Who did you talk to today?" "Nobody." "Why not?" "I don't have any friends." "Why not?" "Well," I said, "find somebody that you remember or you have known or you used to work with and call them or text them or email them." Every day I call at least 4 people. And I've been doing this for the last 2 years. And sometimes there are people I haven't talked to in years. And they go, "Doti Boon, oh, this is so wonderful." And when I hang up, I feel better. And I know they do too, because they know somebody thought about them. Now, have I spent a lot of money? No. Have I spent a lot of time? Not really. Sometimes it might be 15, 20 minutes. And yet you've improved the quality of somebody else's life because they know you care. So that's what I mean by starting at home to bringing joy and happiness into people's life. It's not that what's going on isn't important outside of us, but getting our energy turned back into joy. How you can feel joyful in a time of panic or in a time of war or whatever. Okay. I'm going to be talking about whatever happened to the fool this coming Sunday, because in every civilization there was either the court jester or the court fool, or there were people that made other people laugh, and then we're considered amazing people and very gifted people, sometimes even touched by God people that make people laugh, because laughter was in short supply. Well, laughter right now is in short supply. So what I am doing is I'm telling people how, through joke telling, through attitude, through energy, they can bring about a positive time right now in their home, in their city, in their country that really needs joy. So anytime you think of what can I do to really help, like Amina says, write a small note, or just talk to people in the restaurant, or call people that you know, or call people that your parents knew that you know are alive and getting elderly. And you'd be surprised how they say, "I haven't talked to anybody for weeks. Thank you so much for calling." It's kind of like Dottie's outreach. Call people and make them laugh. What the heck?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I
And
remember several times during my corporate career, we would actually get together, the sales team, and we would write out cards to people who were in assisted living. And we didn't know them, but, dear friend, I'm thinking of you. You're not alone. And the response was always great, which is why we kept doing it, because it really
Right.
made a difference for people who don't have someone to know that someone is thinking of them.
Right. And if anybody ever wants any cards, I went through my box of gift cards, rather greeting cards, and I have over 1,500 greeting cards. People keep giving me cards and say, "Oh, you like writing cards? Here, my mother gave me. Somebody gave me these." And so it's a huge box of beautiful greeting cards. And just call me, text me, said, "Dottie, I'd like some cards." Because there's something about holding it in your hand where you feel their energy more than talking to them on the phone.
Very true. That's a lot of cards, Dottie.
It's a big box, trust me.
That's a lot. And it's as simple also as, when I go through the cash register or you go through the doctor's office or whatever, is if you really, especially really believe it, how many of us have walked by and said, gosh, those earrings on that girl is really cute, or her hair is really cute, or I love her sweater, or, gosh, I wish I could, hold 5 children's hands and walk through the store and still make it. Any of these types of things are simple, just to be honest and say, wow, I really like your blouse, or I wish I had curly hair like you do. Any kind of kindness. Some of us go through days and days and days without that conversation, and it's nice to be noticed when it's positive.
Yeah, or even, oh, you smell so good.
Exactly.
And every once in a while I meet somebody, male and female, that you just, oh, it's such a delight because they just radiate this energetic smell, as it were, and it's great. Yeah, and it's so easy. And what does it take from you? Nothing, just a little bit of caring to help people. So
And I
anyway,
think also,
Go ahead.
sorry, to add on to that, I would also say, try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And an example of this, this has happened several times. I've gone to the grocery store. They have 10 lanes, but 2 or 3 are open. And people start grumping and they're just mean to the person at the register. It's not that person's fault. And if you
right.
look at it, maybe because of supply chain costs, they had to cut back on the number of hours they're giving people. Who knows what the reasons are? But it's not that person's fault who's behind the register all day dealing with people like that person. They don't want to hear it. And I think we just have to really be aware when people are working in the public. Show them some respect. It's hard to be in a public forum dealing with people all the time.
And you can help them too by, when you get to the register, say, thank you so much. You have been so good during all of this strife and all of this difficulty. And I want to apologize for those negative people. I think you're doing a great job. But while you do that, put your groceries on the conveyor belt in the order. So all the produce goes together, all the dairy products go together. So it takes a very little amount of time, but it makes their life so much easier.
That's a good one. I love that, Reverend Dottie. I do that. Everything that goes in the freezers together, everything, all the produce is together. And then it makes it easier when you're unpacking it as well.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's so many little things, and just keep thinking of what is this. But the most basic thing you can do to make people feel you're wonderful is to remember their name.
It's true.
Okay. I can stand up and used to be, I'm getting a little bit gray on some names, but I would stand in a group of 50 people and I know each person by name. Not only by name, I usually knew what their spouse's name was and the name of some of their kids, and quite a few people the name of their dogs or cats, because that's the one thing they have that is their identity, is their name. And so, what better thing can you do to help people is to find out what their name is? It's not where they work, it's not their job. What's their name? I would rather know if somebody's name was Joe than know that he's a plumber or he works for IBM. Just what's your name?
Good
and
tip.
It works. It really identifies people for you, and it gives you a little place to put them in your head. And so next time you meet, you say, "Hey, Joe, how are you doing?" And they go, you can just see them kind of smile. She remembers me.
I've had that happen where people remember my name, and I just think, I can't believe that they took the time to remember my name. That's so kind.
Yeah. And all you have to do is just repeat it a few times in your head, and it'll stick.
And then if you get a chance, write it down. That's what I'll do.
Right.
I just had a kindness that someone did to me at the grocery store. It turns out I never take a cart if I'm just going to go in and get one or two things. But of course, then it's 6, 7 things. And I'm like, I'm strong. I can juggle all these things. So you get into the line, and this woman had a very big order, and my arms were full. And she actually came over to me and she said, "Let me help you." And,
Right.
At first I was like, what? Someone wants to help me. And she said, "I'm going to help you." So she took all the things and she put them down and got one of those divider things and pushed her stuff up so that my stuff could go right there. And I thought that was so nice because my arms were killing me.
Right.
And I thanked her several times. And I just said, that really meant a lot to me. Thank you.
Well, and when you start doing that, my kids, my youngest son, I would have people call me or talk and say, "Did you know your son helped me do da 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 da? Did you know a friend of ours had gone in for a surgery?" And when they came home, they called me and said, "I got to my house and your son had taken little bottles and put a flower in each one. The little bottle had water in it and put flowers all around my living room. It looked like a garden." And I said, "How did you do that?" And he said, "Well, Mom, I had a bottle collection, wasn't doing much with it. And I thought, why not and he went and got flowers at Costco and put a flower in each bottle with a little bit of water all around her living room." And I thought, and I have never trained anybody to do that, but he's always, I hear from people, and he did this and this and this. And that's what happens. When you start being nice to people, it spreads throughout not only your family, but also through the town. I mean, just start spreading.
Absolutely.
Like right now, we are really lucky, but Trader Joe's has started giving our church food. So at Sunday, they roll in big carts, and there's all this food from Trader Joe's that's good food, hasn't spoiled or anything, but it's just at that point they should get rid of it before the next week. And so we come home with potatoes and bread and all of that, and it's amazing how much they do for us, in whether we're going to use it right now, but we appreciate the fact that they're giving food. And I know that makes them feel better than throwing it in a dumpster or something like that. Especially bananas. Every week there's loads of bananas because they're just starting to turn a little bit, and they don't want to keep them in the store. But what are they going to do? So Corky says she wants more cookies, not as many bananas.
You can make a beautiful banana bread. Yeah,
it's got to be banana bread. It's got to be banana bread. I used to make it for everybody. So
right. I like
used
bananas
to make
on
it all
cereal.
the time too. I should go
Yeah.
back to that. I'm trying to. Well, you're either doing it or you're not. So I was not eating sugar, and now I'm eating sugar again. We just had Dr. Maroon on the last show, and he is the neurologist to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But we were talking to him about chocolate covered pretzels. I thought that would be bad. I should get rid of it. And he said, no, if it's dark chocolate, the best thing would be dark chocolate covered blueberries, antioxidants. Right. Yeah. So I think I'm going to move over to that. But the banana bread was something I love to make with chocolate chips. And then I would put brown sugar and white sugar on the top of it. It was
wow,
delicious.
Next time you make some, send it to us.
Okay.
Ship to California.
Yes. I can give you the recipe.
But that would mean we cook.
Corky's the baker. My baking is very limited.
Yeah, I don't bake anymore either. So, but we've been there, we've done that. We're on to the next chapter of our lives.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, Reverend Doti, as we come close to the end of the show, I want to spotlight you. You always have wonderful messages to inspire our audience. And you talked about the importance of having fun, about reaching out to other people, about kindness. As we look across the world, because this is a global platform, what else can you share to help bring us together?
Wow, because my mind was going in another direction. I want to talk about raindrops because one of the things I talk about is if each individual drop said, I don't want to rain, we'd have worse droughts than we're having now. And think of yourself as a raindrop and everybody you meet as a raindrop. And if you are a raindrop full of love and health and healing, and all of a sudden, if everybody gets on that same as it is the same cloud, okay, and they are a raindrop of that, pretty soon the emotions and the energies are going to start changing to become more positive, more loving, more kind, and more growth.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And Reverend Doti, if people want to attend the service in person, they want to attend a service via Zoom, I know you shared the information, but it's worth sharing again, please.
Well, you can go to my website and look at Center for Creative Living. Just put in Center for Creative Living San Jose, and everything we are doing will pop up. We have a weekly newsletter called CCL Insights, and you can get that. And it tells you everything we're doing. I decided that just recently that we needed to have a little bit more exercise. So now we start church 15 minutes earlier if people want to come in and do seated exercise before church. And we have things that are always going on there. And I think that that's one of the things, if you find out who we are, we have a lot of people who are metaphysical, who do astrology, who do psychic readings, who do energy group things, a lot of different things, hypnosis. And so if they want to get a hold of us, it's Center for Creative Living in San Jose. Go on your website, or you can call me and it's up on your screen, 408-220-5780. And if you want to email me just specifically, I'm at safe, SAFE, Doti, DOTI, at AOL.com. It's AOL because I'm an old broad. And it's one of those things that you can email me. I'll get right back to you. If you have one question, I'll gladly answer it for you without no charge. Just get in touch. You need to reach out more.
Thank you so much. And we shared your email address here. It's a pleasure seeing you. And hello to Corky back there somewhere. Hi.
It's nice seeing you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, Reverend Doti and Corky. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Was Corky going to say hello? Okay. All right. Bye. Bye. Aminah, once again, another great show, always uplifting and inspiring. The small things that we can do that are really priceless.
Absolutely. I think that's the strong word we need to really move home, that it's priceless. Being kind is priceless. Being thoughtful is priceless. And it takes seconds to do any and all of that. If we all change to that priceless moment, the whole world gets better and goes better. Are there going to be challenges? Yes. Some days we're going to stub our toes. Some days we're going to break our arm. Some days there'll be war, but we can still be kind. That's still priceless.
Yes, it is. Very well said. I thought of you this morning. As I was walking outside the house, there's a window and there's a screen. And in between the screen and the window, there was a tiny little lizard. Aww. Tiny, very tiny, and obviously was trapped. I don't even know how the lizard got in there. Exactly. And I went up to the window, and the screen hasn't been opened in a long time. It's like a screen inside of a window, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, right. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I looked at it and I said, hello. And I waved. I saw it like his little eyes. And I said, are you okay? Are you trapped in there? You have to figure out how to get out because there's. And before I would have been like, oh, I'm freaking out. What am I going to do when it gets into the house? Yeah. Now I was just like, okay, so if it gets into the house, I'll try to help it get out of the house. So.
Right. Right. Because they don't want to be there either. You have terrible bugs, like none.
You know, what you said on one of the shows really stuck with me when I told you about the iguanas that are on the roof and they're still there. And I said, you know, what happens if it falls in, because we have one of those atriums and it falls in. And you said, it doesn't want to be there. it just fell. How do you think it's going to feel? Like it fell? And I thought, wow, I never actually thought about it from that perspective. It's probably afraid, and maybe it's a little angry or annoyed. It doesn't know what to do. So we have to always put ourselves in the other person, the other animal, the other entity's place, and think how are they feeling? And I
Right.
wouldn't have done that before if it wasn't for you. So thank you.
I appreciate that. And I wish the whole world would take just even a split second. A split second can mean the difference between life and death, as we all know, and all kinds of accidents, tripping, falling, all that type of thing. But if you don't stop and think, wait a minute, just because they're doing something that's irritating or bothering me doesn't mean they might have a reason. I've had to stop my own kids from going, well, don't do that. That don't make any sense. And then I explain, they go, oh, okay, that made sense. I said, yeah, just because you don't know why doesn't mean there isn't a reason why. Ask. It's harmless to ask and say, hey, I'd love to know, how come you put the screws in like that? And you're like, because I wanted to hang, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. There's a reason.
Yes.
Or they'll say, because I don't know what I'm doing.
And you know what I want to add on to that is, and I wasn't like this when I was younger, but if I'm driving and there's someone who is really aggressively driving, maybe they're cutting in and out of lanes or they're speeding, instead of doing what I would have done when I was younger, which is blowing the horn and maybe yelling out, what's wrong with you or something. Now I think to myself, maybe they have an emergency. They've got to get to a hospital. They have
Right.
to care for something. Like, who knows what the situation is? Just give them grace, get out of their way, and let them go.
Yes. Yes. Because look at the example you just gave of all the toxicity that your body took in by all the negative thoughts that we give ourselves, and say, well, why are you being that crazy, nutty, blah, blah, blah. And as you said, maybe they're having a heart attack, or they're going into an asthma attack, and they're trying to get through traffic to not kill anybody, much less get the help they need. Or God forbid, I mean, we've all had, wherever you live, some creature crossing your car, and you got the daddy long leg, but he might be harmless for you, but he might totally freak somebody out, and they're just trying to pull over and run away from whatever. Or yeah, maybe their mother just had a heart attack. You don't know. Give them grace and say, okay, I don't understand that, but I'm going to get out of the way because I'll live through this longer.
Yes, definitely. And I thought of you the other day too. I was walking the same path that I've been walking for 40 years, and I saw this duck and these little ducklings. They're called
Oh,
ducklings, right?
yeah, they are.
Yeah, there were 4 of them, and they were on
Oh,
the opposite side of the road, and
oh,
this car was coming, and they started walking into the road, and I was like, "No, ducklings, turn around, go back." And I'm, like, waving for the car to stop, and the person, it was a woman, she was going very quickly, and she slowed down, and then when she pulled aside of them, instead of stopping and letting them cross the street, she drove so close to the outside of them, and oh my gosh, I ran over to make sure they were okay, and they turned around and went the other way. And I thought, couldn't you just stop the car? But again, who knows what that person was going through?
right, right. I mean, even if she's running to the hospital for life and death, yeah, or as any paramedic and police officer will say, don't swerve, because you're going to lose control of the car in a lot more catastrophe. You could take out mom and the chicks, or God forbid, or whatever. But even if she would have slowed down and given them a chance to cross, this is a huge problem in every state, in every country, that we have invaded, basically encroached onto these huge animals or small animals' lives. And we've created dams, and we've created backed waterways. We've rerouted routes. I'm in the middle of finishing a really long article on dams, because they've been tearing them down for the last 5 to 10 years, because they finally had 50 years of proof that dams are incredibly harmful to the native population where they put dams, and they're causing bacterial backups because they're creating still water. Yeah, dams have been, I'm luckily, as I research more, that they have started tearing these dams down, realizing that we've really caused a great deal of harm to the planet, to the world, to our livelihoods, everything, by thinking we know better than nature on where water should be flowing, just because we want to build a town there, or we want the minerals out of the ground, or some other me statement.
It's all about choice.
Yes, thank you. It is. You can choose to be afraid without knowledge, and you can choose to not be afraid with knowledge. And that's what exactly, Dr. JACALYN, is what you are sharing with me. And I appreciate so much, because education is a pinnacle to the coexisting thing that I live and breathe. Is that, how do you know to change what you do if I don't tell you why it's might be a better idea to do so? Because you'll live a happier life. Everybody will live a happier life, because we all existed, because we have a point. You know, I don't know what electric eels are supposed to do in life, but that's not for me to know. That's a pretty scary, and I absolutely adore sharks. I will probably keep them 6,000 or 7,000 feet from me, but I respect and love that I don't understand that. I didn't create the world, and I didn't create these wonderful animals. So I can't possibly study that much, because it's always changing.
Yeah, and to your point,
we're living in is changing.
Yes, definitely. Well, Aminah, we're going to close out this show now and close out for the week. And
Wonderful.
once again, just if you can share your contact information and anything you have that's coming up.
Great. Right now, I'm just working through the springtime, and again, getting new articles together for all of us to learn and coexist. So if you have a question about your pets, adoption to death, whichever end you're on, you're getting a new pet, you want to add a new pet, you're at end of life, you have training questions, I can do that from anywhere we can get a phone connection. Zoom is always possible. It's something I offer for free if you want to see me face to face. It is an easy way that I have clients all over the world. And clients can, again, have a living pet or a past one, or you want to get a new one. I can help you with that. And sometimes it's a rehoming question. I happen to have a little kitty with me now that was rehomed to us. Luckily, we were friends with them. So I've lived many of the things I'm going to think. I've studied in college many of the things, and then I know intuitively as a psychic the rest of those. So I hope to bring that to you anytime. It is $75 for up to 1 hour. And then after that, it's $1 a minute. That is my standard fee. And anytime, wherever you live, reach out. bridgingworlds.us. That is everything about me. And of course, I'd love to have you on Facebook with all the fun and articles. And I love being silly, because so do the animals. So bridgingworlds.us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's great having you here again today. And I wish you a blessed weekend.
Absolutely. Do something fun. Hug that mom for me.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Well, as we close out the week, I can share this with you. We have had some amazing, impactful, powerful shows, including this one. We have had people from all over the world share their stories, and I encourage you to go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV. If you're looking for inspiration, motivation, education, and entertainment, we have it all there for you. All of the shows are organized into playlists so that you can find the shows easily. And the YouTube channel is updated by the end of this evening. All of the shows from today will be in their proper playlist. So please do go over there and subscribe. If you're interested in being a guest on any of our shows, you can go to our website, usaglobaltv.com, book your session. Some of the shows are not open to the public, even though you will read by invitation only. I'm inviting you, but that's not the invitation I'm referring to. I'm referring to the invitation by the co-host for you to be on the show. So this show, for example, is by invitation of Aminah only. So please do go over there and have a look. Guests can book up to 5 times in a calendar year without any fee. And then if you want to come back, we have a limit as 10 times a year, and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You can purchase a package for those second set of 5 interviews if you're interested. All right, I'm going to close out with a very powerful, inspirational song that I hope will take all of us into the weekend in a good mindset. And we've played this before to support people of Ukraine. You actually can purchase this. You can purchase it, which the money will go to the charity. And I'll put that link here over in the comments. And let me just find the clip and go ahead and play it. It's called "We Stand Together." God bless all of you. I wish you a beautiful, safe, and peaceful weekend. And please be kind to other people and be kind to yourself. We'll see you again on Monday. Thank you.
Just call my name if you ever feel down or feel afraid, 'cause nothing is stronger than men who stand as one for a long time.
All the things that passed, million times the troubles seem to be
easy, and days felt so bright with you.
I remember you always been my family member.
That's the time when we need to stand together. I made this song for you. Hope it reaches and puts a little bit
Smile on you
and fills your mind with hope, because you're not alone. We're together
in this love. We stand forever. Peace is what we need. Everyone knows the truth, no matter which side you pick. You might realize
you're not